My name is Spectre, and welcome to Week 2 action of the VGL 2v2 Season 2. And we are met here with two teams, one of which is making its debut. They had a bye week in Week 1. And another team which is a little bit on a hot streak. We've got El Pollo Loco, and over here his partner Slonius, also known as Sloan. And they make up, of course, the legendary, well, sort of legendary team, SeanPaul. They had one hell of a Week 1. And making their debut here in Week 2, we have Team AngerManagement being led by Bnasty, a VGL veteran, and his new sidekick, just kind of learning the ropes here, Jetflyer. So Jetflyer, of course, a little new to the VGL. He's been an up-and-comer, and he definitely is. I'll let you guess which half of the AngerManagement he is, and B definitely handling the second half of that name. And we'll have to see what they can put together. This is, of course, their first match in this season, and B, even though he is a veteran, this is Jetflyer's pretty much his debut in any kind of official VGL showing, just as it was for Sloan here backing up Pollo. So it should be interesting to see. Sloan, of course, had a pretty good solid start, a few apprehensive moments there in Week 1 as he kind of like jumped ahead a little bit here and there, but overall, seemed to really be holding his own and doing a great job. Jetflyer, of course, being the next new guy everyone's going to be scrutinizing. We'll have to see how he performs. So far, we see pretty solid build here. Go ahead and get in this wall up. Take a look at the income tab here, and it looks like Harvester's pretty even. Bnasty falling a little behind. If you're not new to VGL, then you know that that's very typical B. He pretty much always a little bit behind on the Harvesters, but usually comes back around towards mid-game. See a little bit of harassment here from Pollo, trying to keep Jetflyer on his toes. This, Pollo, of course, one of the most esteemed veterans of the VGL at this point, and he's of course going to haze the new guy just a little bit. Let him know, hey, don't let your head get too big here, all right, buddy? This is my world. You just play in it. So Jet, of course, and if you've met Jet in Mumble, then you know that he is definitely a man of many words, and it should be a very interesting matchup here between the two of them. Meanwhile, we see double gas going down for Sloan, and over here on the Zerg half of this team, just a spawning pull up and a single gas going. Do see a little bit of scouting here, but of course they've already located their opponents. And if we take a look at the shared vision here, we'll see that both teams have scouted each other. However, they do not know that this spawning pool is hatched, so it's a little bit old information there on the Zerg end. And of course with Zerg, you always want to keep an eye on any kind of early pool, any kind of early action, try to get some kind of indication of which way they're going. So far we see a little bit of rally outside of the wall. Slightly questionable on that, but I suppose if they're going for an early attack, which knowing Bnasty, I wouldn't put it past them, this may just be their rally point since they're planning to roll out so early. So far so good here. Everything looks pretty peaceful. We do see a lone drone here just kind of hanging out. Pollo trying to keep an eye on this expansion here. A single Zergling might be a little bit cheaper of a way of doing that, but that's okay. Meanwhile, we do see an expansion going down for Pollo as well. No action on the rest of the map, and there it is, the early rollout going in. So it looks like we've got 6 Marines, 4 Zealots. That should be an interesting combo here, and they will be met by a very unguarded expansion, a wide open base with pretty much nothing but a Queen, and we do have a Baneling nest coming down. There is enough larvae here where he could at least produce maybe 2 or 3 units, but really not much here. It's just 3 Marines. They've opted not to wall off, so it should be pretty interesting. Now, the question is, do they go for this, or do they just go straight into the main? And it looks like they will go for the expansion. I would say this is not a good move. Why? Because you're giving Team SeanPaul the chance to, and you see they kind of realize it too, you're giving them the chance to get defensible. Even a few precious seconds are just enough time to hatch, hopefully what will be a defense force. And you see here the Marines coming in, wasting a little bit of time on that. And you see all the drones coming out here, attempting to fight this off. That is not going to go well, though. And you see some Zerglings coming out, and they're having trouble getting us around here. It's just a total cluster mess here. So a few Banelings coming in there, desperately needed. The Queen goes down. All these workers just getting torn to shreds here as this early attack from Team AngerManagement is really crippling Pollo here. He's really eating his words after sending that drone to kind of harass Jet. Now it's starting to look like this is Jet's playground, and Pollo's the one ending up on the barbecue. and you just see this base going down. There's unfortunately not much here that's going to survive. You see a handful of Zerglings trying to do some last-ditch effort here, but they're not going to be met by much over here. It looks like, oh, they will get the wall up in time, so they will protect that base. They can easily get some Marines out. These Zealots are wasting time, but at this point, I'm sure they're very happy with that initial attack. They're going to go ahead and make sure Pollo is out of the game. So this is not a case where, and we've seen it so many times, where somebody cripples one half of a team and then focuses on the other half prematurely, letting them bounce back. No, they want to make sure Pollo is down and he stays down. And that is basically what they are doing here, just making sure every building is crushed. They want to make him a spectator for the rest of this game, and they've pretty much successfly done that. This rush, it does not look like there's much of an answer here. This lone bunker is going to attempt to hold off these things. We see some good micro here with this this Hellion, but unfortunately just way too many troops rolling in here. Now that it's basically a 2-on-1, this is going to get pretty bad pretty quick. We do see a handful of Lings still hanging out here outside the base. Going to try to poke in as much as possible, but really there's nowhere for them to go, and it's only a matter of time before they build up enough troops to come in here. So Sloan, of course, being the new half of this team, pressure is on, my friends. It's up to you to save this team. I don't know if he can do it. We do see a starport coming down. It looks like he's just continuing his build as normal, but really there's not much he can do. These should have been turned into drones. Not quite sure why Pollo has done that. He may have just decided, screw it, I'm out of the game, I'm not even going to attempt to rebuild, but those could have easily been made into drones. He could have easily tried to rebuild his base with a loan from his good friend, but it looks like he will not take that route, and he will instead live out the rest of this game in the form of these 5 Lings. And looks like he will do the best that he can as far as like just taking Xel'Naga towers, poking in at the enemy. We do see an expansion going down now for Jet. They are definitely playing this a little cautious. They know they have the advantage. They know this is theirs to lose at this point, but they are not rushing forward necessarily. Oh, and finally persistence pays off, and Pollo finally makes it in here, but these 3 Lings, unfortunately, not going to last long enough to really make any kind of difference here. And there's the resignation from Pollo, essentially ending the game, slowed following shortly thereafter, and that is game 1. A very surprising introduction here for Team AngerManagement, as they basically crippled Pollo very early on with an early attack, some scout negligence there on the behalf of Team SeanPaul, just not spotting that early attack soon enough, and some may even say you should have known better playing against Bnasty. He is known for his early attacks, but we'll have to see how they bounce back in game 2. Of course, it is a best of 3, but this is some pretty exciting week 2 action, and we'll have to see if the newcomers can put the first loss on the scoreboard for Team SeanPaul. We'll be right back with game 2.